6 months without a blog post. Nearly a year since tangible progress has been shown. Yes, everyone, today we are talking about Hytale. What's up, friends? It's Codiak here, one half of the team behind Legacy Gaming, and boy, is this update a doozy. A massive delay, doubling down on customization, and a complete overhaul of Hytale's combat are just a few of the things in today's video. Friends, today we have a lot to talk about, but let's not bury the lead. Hytale is delayed until 2023 at the absolute earliest. That doesn't mean a guaranteed release or even a beta, just that it's the earliest estimate of when Hytale might be ready. Now, I don't think it's much of a stretch to say Livid and myself were probably some of the only people looking at that planned 2021 release window and saying absolutely no way is this game or even a beta coming out this year. There have been a ton of content creators and individuals all banking on a 2021 release, and honestly, we feel for them. It sucks, we totally get it, but from day one, we have always said to this community to temper your expectations. We get that everyone is excited, and we remain so too, but when senior positions, modelers, animators, and more are still being hired not even a month ago, you have to look at these things and read between the lines. Things like that don't happen close to a release, and the fact that, aside from this very post, we haven't seen a single update on many of the core gameplay systems in over a year, well, safe to say we saw this coming. The truth is, a game with this sort of scope, polish, and level of ambitious customization, something we'll get into in a bit, needs time. Also considering the initial success of the game's trailer and the evolution Hytale has undergone since being acquired by Riot, the team revealed a new part of their plan, releasing the game on PC, console, and mobile at launch. They also discussed not wanting to fracture their player base, which to us sounds like crossplay at launch being a major goal. While they didn't explicitly say that, they certainly implied it. We also know that this is their decision and not Riot's. Noxie made that very clear on Twitter, but we have to assume that this is something Riot would actually be in favor of given their track record. The hype for this game might be lower, sure, but it certainly won't die, provided the team actually updates everyone periodically, which brings me out to our next few points. Postcards are going away. Due to substantial technical changes they are making, it would be more complicated to produce screenshots and clips that accurately reflect the Hytale experience at this point. While we are fine with postcards going away, not sure we entirely agree that screenshots need to be something elaborately produced every single time. The other big thing here is that blog posts will be returning, but they stress that communication overall will shift to fewer but more substantial official updates. That means no predictions on when they drop updates, but hopefully these posts focus on the core gameplay systems and details. Shifting gears a bit, we actually got some substantial updates to core systems in this blog post. Character personalizations have been greatly expanded and will continue to be built upon with many new options as time progresses, while also expanding the layering system of clothing and gear to allow for even more sophisticated customization. Personalization of your player character is a central theme of Hytale, and they want to make sure that this shines during solo and co-op adventures, all the way out to mini-games and other social activities. They want players to feel unconstrained in their creativity and self-expression, so that has meant going deeper into customization, allowing the player to establish who they are, what they can be, and how they choose to fit into the world of Hytale. All of the recent speculation that these various details on characters meant many different races for Hytale. This may not be inherently wrong in the grand scheme of things, but the team has made it official that player characters are called avatars, powerful, playful, and protean denizens of the boundless realm known as the Alterverse. Our avatars were drawn to Orbis by some mysterious cosmic event and adopt the forms of beings and creatures influenced by the emergent world and the wider Alterverse. They felt the term avatar captured that double role that every player character fulfills, one being a character in a high fantasy adventure story, the other being an expression of their player's online identity. You're free to mix and match basic components like faces, eyes, and hair, layer on additional fantastic elements like horns, pointy ears, or tusks, and combine these with modern fashions, adventuring garb, or cosplay. Another massive thing discussed in this update is the complete overhaul to Hytale's combat system, which is well into being completely rebuilt, and honestly, just based on what was shown here, it looks extremely promising and much more robust. Each weapon will form the cornerstone of your combat playstyle, and they will all provide you with a unique set of abilities specific to that weapon type. This was done to make sure weapons all feel distinct from one another, offering more than a simple change to attack speed or damage. Don't forget, metas will always be a thing as soon as competitive aspects take root in the game, so it will be key for the team to balance these abilities, which ultimately is a much longer process than just looking at the aforementioned attack speed and damage stats. The audio and VFX are also being overhauled to coincide with these combat changes in order to emphasize the power of each blow. From a game design perspective, it's important to note that each of these abilities and attacks have a very clear audio and visual cue, so in any given environment, players can react and adjust their playstyle accordingly and clearly. The UI is also getting a significant overhaul to support the new systems, which will include dedicated UI elements for new features like stamina, blocking, and signature moves that are charged up by landing blows and blocking incoming attacks. They aren't ready to show these new visual UI changes quite yet, but we do get a massive look at the new combat system. In this first clip here, we see the fundamental moveset of the one-handed sword. Basic attacks will form a 3-hit combo, striking from the right and left, ending in an overhead chop. You'll also notice, as was teased a long time ago, there is a massive emphasis now on physicalized reactions, so the direction you are hitting from could play a massive role in your success. More on this later to really see the effect in action. The sword special attack is a charged lunge that features both a distinct visual and audio cue for when it's fully charged and ready to be unleashed. This will also give the player a slight movement advantage by targeting a short dash and applying knockback to a target. The signature move is where things get even cooler. The classic spin-to-win nature of swords in RPGs is on full display here as your character performs a decently sized AoE spin attack followed by a powerful lunge. This is aimed at rewarding good positioning on clustered enemies with the added bonus of dealing sudden damage to a key enemy. They tease that if you pair this up with a shield, you'll get the ability to block frontal attacks so long as the wielder maintains sufficient stamina. And the team stresses that good stamina management will be key to success of this combination when charging their signature move by blocking attacks and landing blows of their own. This all makes the sword and shield a weapon combo that favors defensive and reactive play. There is solid utility in the form of lunges and knockbacks, coupled with steady damage output and damage mitigation that makes sword and shield users a pain to pin down and overwhelm. Baiting out the stamina of the users will definitely be key. Now in this second clip, we get a look at the overhauled mace weapon. Mace attacks are slow and consume a decent chunk of stamina, but in return they deal plenty of damage and cause knockback. Basic attacks are steady, right and left swings that can push enemies to the side, with the alternate attack utilizing the hilt of your weapon to provide a high knockback bash, an aspect we wish more games would actually do. If you charge your basic attacks, you can perform a powerful special attack that deals even more damage and sends enemies flying. The signature move is a devastating leaping slam that deals massive AoE damage and knockback near your impact zone. We don't know if fall damage will be a thing or if it's implemented yet, but this could potentially be a way with this weapon to mitigate that as seen here. While you won't be able to hide behind a shield, mace players are still very much defensive. You'll need to be aware of both your timing and direction of your strikes to avoid wasting precious stamina. Your knockback will allow you to keep your enemies positioned where you want them, or even utilize environmental hazards like cliffs or lava to your advantage. These are just two of the weapon types they're working on, but teased daggers will favor hit-and-run type attacks and provide a ton of bonus mobility. Battle axes were also teased. They build up powerful damage boosts by landing successive hits in order to encourage all-in aggression. Ranged attacks are also on the list to be expanded, and it should be really interesting to see how they balance them given the new weapon skills being added. Players will also be able to customize their playstyle further through the use of armor and trinkets, with the overall goal of this system to encourage players to compose their own approach to combat through the wide array of distinct elements at their disposal. Last up, we have advancements in AI behavior. Over the last 6 months, the Hytale team has made significant additions to Hytale's modular AI system to add more depth and variety to overall NPCs. The new system is called the Combat Action Evaluator and allows NPCs to make smarter decisions about targets, weapons, and how they approach battle. The AI will look at the number and behavior of foes to guide their next actions, from the timing of their basic attacks, range from their target, and the execution of special actions like switching weapons, using special attacks, or straight up fleeing. The system is configurable and more fluid than ever. The AI can look and choose an optimal move for a scenario, but that doesn't mean the NPC necessarily has to use it. This is done to make NPCs less predictable and gives NPCs a greater sense of life by allowing them to make mistakes. The clip you've been watching in the background is combat between a player and an AI. If you look closely, you can see the pause the AI takes compared to a human player, but without knowing this, Livid and I both thought these were just two players fighting it out. Their goal wasn't to perfectly mimic a player, but shockingly got so much closer to that being a reality than they expected. Any way you shake it, the team emphasizes that at the core of this all, they are committed to creating the best possible game they can, and friends, that just means we're gonna have to wait. There isn't any point in being angry, demanding the game now, or trying to rush the devs. You get one chance to launch your game, and with their goal of making a game that delights players and empowers creators for years to come, that's something they just need to get right the first time. As always, if you guys like our content and you want more Hytale in your feeds, don't forget to like the video and of course subscribe to Legacy Gaming. We have so much content planned for Hytale down the road that you do not want to miss out. We've been here since the very beginning, and that doesn't change with the delay. Finally, if you like everything we're doing here at Legacy Gaming and you'll want to support us even more, you can now do so by becoming a member. For just a couple bucks, you're helping evolve the channel and take our community to that next level. We got a lot of cool things coming, so check out the join button below to learn more. My name is Codiak, and on behalf of Livid and myself, thanks for watching, and play on.